Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of energy as we explore how fires start and what keeps them burning. Ever wondered how a candle stays lit or what happens when fuels burn? We'll break it all down, from energy transformation to the waste produced by burning fuels. For more videos on stored energy and fuels, please check out the links in the description. Stick around until the end for some fun questions to test your knowledge, challenge yourself and see how much you've learned. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss our weekly educational videos. Let's get started. What is needed for a fire to start? For a fire to start, fuels need heat. Once a fire is burning, it needs heat and oxygen to keep going. Oxygen is a gas found in the air around us, and all fires require oxygen to continue burning. Together, fuel, heat, and oxygen form what we call the fire triangle. If any part of this triangle is removed, the fire will go out, meaning it will stop burning. For example, a candle will only burn if it has fuel, something that can burn, like the wax in a candle. Oxygen, the oxygen in the air that surrounds us, helps the fire keep burning. Input energy, something to start the fire, like the heat created when you strike a match. The match tip has chemicals that can catch fire easily, and when you strike it against a rough surface, the friction produces enough heat to start a fire. A substance that burns easily is called flammable. If any of these three elements are missing, the fire won't burn. Another word for burning is combustion. When we take away one of the three things a fire needs, we say we are depriving it of that element. How does a candle burn? Well, a fuel does not catch fire on its own. When you light a candle, you're giving it the heat energy it needs to start burning. You do this by holding a match or lighter near the candle's wick. The heat from the flame melts the top of the candle wax, turning it into a liquid. This liquid wax is then drawn up into the wick. As the wax moves up the wick, it changes into a gas and mixes with the oxygen in the air. This mixture of gas and oxygen creates a flame. The process continues, keeping the candle burning, until all the wax is used up. In a candle, the fuel is the paraffin in the wax, which keeps the flame going. Let's look at how a candle snuffer works. Before electric lights were available, candles were the most common source of lighting. At this time, it was common to use a candle snuffer to put candles out. A candle snuffer was usually a small metal cup on the end of a long handle. If a fire needs fuel, heat, and oxygen to keep burning, then the flame can be extinguished by removing one of these things. Which of these things does a candle snuffer remove? The candle snuffer smothers the flame by preventing oxygen from reaching it. When you blow out a candle, your breath moves the heat of the burning gas from its fuel. To stop a fire from burning, we must cut off the oxygen supply. To do this, you could cover the flames completely with something like a wet blanket, which prevents the flames from getting more oxygen from the air around it. Water will also cut off the oxygen supply as well as cool the fire and remove the heat from it. This information is particularly helpful to someone like a firefighter who needs to put out a fire. A firefighter must do at least one of these three things: remove all fuel from the fire, remove the heat so that the fuel will stop burning, smother the fire by preventing oxygen getting to the fuel. Let us now look at energy transformation and transfer. When we burn a fuel, something amazing happens: energy is transformed. To transform energy means to change it from one form to another. For example, when we burn wood, the stored energy in the wood is changed into heat and light energy. Energy can also be passed on, or transferred, from one thing to another. Sometimes the energy stays in the same form, like when you transfer heat from a fire to your hands. Other times, it changes into a new form of energy, which is called transformation. Imagine a cyclist who has eaten a meal. The food is full of energy, which gets stored in the cyclist's body, ready to be used. The food acts like fuel, similar to how petrol fuels a car. This stored energy is called potential energy because it's waiting to be used. When the cyclist starts pedaling the bicycle, the stored energy is transformed into kinetic energy, which is another name for movement energy. This transformation allows the cyclist to move forward on the bike. Fuels sometimes leave waste after burning. When fuels burn, the stored energy inside them is released. Some fuels burn more quickly and catch fire more easily than others. They also produce different amounts of waste. Waste from burning fuels can come in the form of smoke, ash, and gases like carbon dioxide. For example, coal leaves ash behind when it burns, but petrol does not. However, both coal and petrol release carbon dioxide into the air. Let's look at two common fuels, wood and natural gas. When we burn wood, it produces a lot of smoke and leaves behind ash. The smoke contains tiny particles that can harm our health and the environment by making the air dirty and causing breathing problems. Natural gas, on the other hand, burns much cleaner than wood. It produces very little smoke and no ash. Although it does release some carbon dioxide, it's much less than the amount released when burning wood. This makes natural gas a cleaner fuel compared to wood. To demonstrate that oxygen is needed to keep a fire burning, you can perform a simple experiment using a small candle and 2 jars of different sizes. Begin by lighting the candle and placing a small jar over it. We will observe that the candle flame starts to dim and eventually goes out within a few seconds. This happens because the small jar has a limited amount of air, and less oxygen the candle needs to burn. It is the oxygen in the air that reacts with the fuel to make it burn. When the oxygen in the jar is used up, the fuel stops burning. Next, if we relight the candle and place a larger jar over it, the flame will burn for a longer period before going out. The larger jar contains more air, and therefore more oxygen, allowing the candle to burn longer compared to the smaller jar. Through this experiment, we can see that the amount of oxygen available affects how long the candle can stay lit, demonstrating that oxygen is essential for combustion. That's a wrap. We've reached the end of today's lesson. But before we go, please try answering the following questions before the answers pop up. Feel free to pause the video as needed. This is a crucial section that will help reinforce what you've learned. In our next video, we'll be discussing fire safety, as fires can pose serious threats to our communities. Make sure you check out the links in the description for more videos on this important topic. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on our weekly uploads. Thank you for watching, and take care.